Hey y'all, my name is Angelica Rubio, State Representative for District 35, and this is a brief legislative update. So a couple of months ago, we got word that the governor here in New Mexico, Michelle Lujan Grisham, was planning to was scheduling was calling for a special session. Just for context, for folks who don't know, the governor here in New Mexico under the Constitution is allowed to call for a special session in the midst of something critical that needs to be done that can't wait until a regular legislative session, which we don't have until January. And so she called on this special session a couple months ago, wanting to do 3 to 4 things. One was to make panhandling illegal. The second was to deal with this issue related to what folks are calling competency and like forced treatment for people suffering from mental health issues, and increasing penalties for people with felonies who are caught with like a gun, like increasing penalties for that. To be clear, many of these policy proposals have already faced scrutiny within the legislature, either this past legislative session or legislatures before. And so there's never been any support because we who are serving in the House of Representatives and in the Senate don't believe that in order to address the public safety issues that are occurring throughout the state, that we don't do that by criminalizing the unhoused and the people who are homeless. That's just bottom line. That's just values, to be honest. And so we are scheduled to go to Santa Fe July 18th, which is Thursday. Today is Saturday. And as of today, there is no consensus. Like, nobody wants to support her bills. Nobody wants to sponsor her bills. And so we're all just kind of like trying to figure out our lives for the next week or so. I live here in Las Cruces. I have a full-time job. I don't own a house in Santa Fe. And so I'm over here trying to figure out, like, okay, 1, are we going to have a special session? 2, if we're going to have a special session, how long is it going to last? And 3, I need to figure out, like, life, you know? And I think this is a really important piece because this is what's happening in politics right now. I think we see it like at the federal level, and we're seeing it here throughout the state, that people in power are just playing with our lives. Like, they're so disconnected to the realities of what's happening to people in real time that they're just kind of playing all of these political games like it's some sort of it's like a game. It's a game. And so I think, if anything, what's more frustrating than the fact that I have a governor who is currently operating from the realm of politics instead of leaning into our democratic values, which is we don't criminalize people for being poor. But it's more upsetting that we have such urgent matters to tend to that these sort of mind games of are we or aren't we have sort of just really sort of monopolized the conversation rather than actually finding some real results to this whole thing. I want to be very clear that there are some really smart people who serve in the legislature who have proposed alternatives to what the governor has set forth. We have some amazing advocates who have been doing the work on the ground for decades and who have had to endure sort of the fluctuations that shape our legislature and our systems and how they've sort of been so volatile because of our lack of investments. And that what we're experiencing right now in real time is not only just a consequence of what we have not done in the past, but rather than addressing it with the tools that we have in store now, that we are willing to, that we're not doing that. We're actually adding to the ongoing challenges that we as New Mexicans have been facing for quite some time. A few days ago, advocates called for the governor to cancel the special session. I know that folks in leadership here in New Mexico in the House and the Senate are actively trying to get the governor to come to her senses when it comes to the special session, informing her that she, one, doesn't have the votes, and two, that nobody wants to carry her bills. And so I guess the question now is, how far is the governor willing to go to prioritize her priorities, which are very political in my opinion, and her own political aspirations, than to actually deal with the realities that many of us are having to address here in our local districts and in our local communities. And so I don't honestly know what the call to action is for you all now, because I don't really know if there's anything that can convince the governor otherwise, to not have a special session and to just let us do our job in preparing for the January session to ensure that we're addressing a lot of these things. But with just under 6 days that we have to show up to Santa Fe at noon on Thursday, I don't know. Will she have a change of heart? Will she not? I think that's the I think we're on a governor watch right now. So we'll see how that goes. Y'all, I think I have so much gray hair just this week from having to deal with this stuff. So yeah. Anyways, take care of each other, take care of yourself. Let's hope for the best, and in the meantime, we'll see what happens. Hopefully the special session will not happen. We'll get to focus on legislation and policy that we can start working on for January session, and then helping a lot of my colleagues win their elections in November. That's it.